Hello everybody, Blind Metal Gamer here with you once again, and in this video I'm going to discuss how Ghosts of Yotai can be made fully playable by blind and low vision gamers. Now, I know we've been given a taste of what Ghosts of Yotai's gameplay is going to be like, in terms of the combat, in terms of the open world exploration and all of that, but in this video I want to talk about the accessibility piece, and talk about how, if done, if the developers at Sucker Punch decide to make the game blind accessible, and I'm sure they're trying, and I'm sure that they want to do their best with what they're given. How they can make this game blind playable. Now, I'm going to be drawing inspirations from other games I've played as a blind gamer, and as far as features. So, with that being said, all right. So to get this started, one thing that this game would need for blind playability would be a screen reader similar to The Last of Us Part 1, The Last of Us Part 2, or Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac. Now, the reason why I say these screen readers in particular is because they read everything to the player. So if you look at The Last of Us Part 1, if you look at The Last of Us Part 1, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, and Marvel Spider-Man 2 screen readers, they read everything to the player. So having a screen reader similar to those would be perfect, because it'll read not only menus, but how to do things such as fire weapons, or in Ghost of Yotai's case, not only fire weapons, but use your weapons and how to change weapons, etc. And it would also help as far as upgrading your skill trees and things by letting the player know what skill they're going to upgrade and what it will do. Now, another thing after screen reader support would be navigational assist. Now, in a game like Ghosts of Yotai, that's going to be key. I think they're going to have the guiding wind again, but here's the thing with the guiding wind. It's such a visual thing, not everybody's going to be able to access it. So I think what they should do is not only have the guiding wind, that's cool, but I think what they should do is give, in the options menu for accessibility, have a thing that says navigational assist. You turn that, let's say you turn it off by default. Okay. You turn it off, you have your guiding wind. Okay. Now let's say you turn that on, then the guiding wind would not be there. What would be in its place, again, if this were me, would be something similar to The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, where the player would click the stick and it would point you where you gotta go. So something kind of like that. And I know that they may not be able to implement this, so again, these are just ways it could be done. Um, okay, navigational assist, screen reader support. Um, we've The next thing that I'm going to talk about is descriptive audio for in-game cutscenes and potential in-game moves such as finishing moves or stealth kills or takedowns. So what that would do is that would be very helpful to let players know what's going on during high-profile in-game cutscenes for story mode. And if they were able to implement the descriptive audio for things such as finishing moves, that's okay. But if not, that's fine too, because Marvel Spider-Man 2 and The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 don't have that for the really epic kills where you do takedowns. So mainly it would be for in-game cinematics to help progress the story, so the player knows what's going on. Um, and then another thing that would be helpful would be combat difficulty customization. And I know I said this in my Neo 3 video, but the combat should be customizable to be either very light or very challenging, depending on how the player wants it. And again, these are all options that the player could use. So on very light, they wouldn't take as much damage, so that could be doing consequent combat without the pressure of being damaged as much, or make the combat experience customizable to make it where you can customize the damage you take, the damage your enemy takes, etc. And then a timing for parry windows, make that customizable. To where if you want to slow that parry window down to have more time to react, you've got it. So more or less either um, combat difficulty options or customizable combat difficulty that would not affect in-game trophies or achievements. So that's the key. None of these would affect in-game trophy progression or achievement progression. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is game speed. Now, you're thinking, oh, blind middle gamer, if you're going to slow down parries during combat, what this would do is it would slow down combat to a specific speed. That way, the player can listen for audio cues for incoming attacks and things. That way, they can have time to react to the attack and learn it. That way, they can be ready. And then, when they want to increase the speed of the combat, they have the option. Another thing I'm going to talk about is now more related to colorblind and low vision. So, high contrast mode. Now, you're probably wondering, blind mode gamer, why high contrast mode? They're going to have Kurosawa mode for black and white. What they could do with that is, let's say you have your Kurosawa mode, right? Okay, that's cool, but let's say you want high contrast mode for the regular mode, for the regular game mode, or the Cowboy Bebop mode, or whatever it's called, the other game modes. You should have that option. It saturates the backgrounds, and then give the player customizable colors, not just filters, but customizable colors to choose from to suit their needs for colorblind players. And this could also be done for backgrounds with background opacity for menus, and have the colors be there as well for text customization, and have text size customization with being able to slide the text either as small or as big as you like it to meet your needs. Now, with all that being said, another thing I'm going to talk about is audio cues. So, again, audio cues for like when you've defeated an enemy, when you've locked onto an enemy, um, audio cues for in-game loot pickups, finding your objectives, things like that. That would be helpful to make it blind and low vision playable. And again, games that developers could look into for inspiration would be, again, The Last of Us, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and things like that. So, that those are some ways that Ghosts of Yotai can be made blind or can be made playable by blind and low vision gamers. Again, this video may not have all the ideas, but this should give you a basic idea of how it could be done. So, with that being said, I've been Blind Metal Gamer saying so long, stay cool and stay safe, and peace out.